Hello and welcome to the first, maybe last episode of It's Not a Movie, which stems from the recent edition of Twin Peaks The Return by myself to my top 10 films of 2017. Got a bit of flack from certain people because of that. So this is a TV show review. Flack, like, you know, they're like, hey, you can't be doing that. Come on, that's ridiculous. Oh. It's not a movie, it's a TV show. So
bitching, really.
Huh?
They've been bitching, really.
Bitching, yeah. Bitching, moaning, whining. Stop whining.
I was going to say that.
So I thought, you know, I really, what's the word? I hold back from watching TV shows sometimes because it's a big commitment, and I look at like a normal TV show and I think, right, I can watch that, or I can watch 10 movies, right? I go for the 10 movies. So I tend to not watch them, but I think I should try and watch more of them because the quality of TV shows has gotten so much better recently. And maybe talking about them in a video will give me more of a push to watch said TV shows. So the first one we're going to be talking about is The End of the Fucking World, which is a British show that came out last October on Channel 4 and I think some kind of streaming service, and then Netflix picked it up for 2018.
You actually left the U out.
Yeah, you should do that in school, so you can kind of, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The End of the Fucking World, there we'll say it.
Nice.
Which I didn't know really anything about. It was just one of the, it's the new Netflix show, right? And I'll say it, I'm buying into the Netflix thing. I'm like, oh, right.
They're doing a good job.
They really are, so it's like, okay. And I didn't know it was British either, even before we started it. I just heard a few people on Twitter going, oh yeah, it's really good, except I think Elijah Wood even was praising it. I thought, interesting. And I saw it was only 8 episodes and they were like 20 minutes long, which was a big sell for me.
Yeah.
You know, which obviously
short.
Is because it was a UK show, I'm assuming, if it was shown on Channel 4.
But it was so American.
Right, so my first thought when it started was that it was American. I was like, oh, is this like a British guy in an American town? Like the way it's shot.
Yeah.
There's such an American, the way that it's
style.
Yeah, the cinematography, the houses, the color grading, even the car that they drive. The car that they drive in the beginning looks like an American car to me.
Wasn't it a Volvo?
I don't know.
It's German.
And in the inside, well, it reminded me of an American film or something. I don't know, something about it. Now the story is centered around these two teenagers, James and Alyssa. James believes himself to be a sociopath, a psychopath. He killed animals when he was younger, and now he wants to move on to killing a person. So it very much up front, from the very first scene, tells you that this is a guy who's got serious issues. And then we meet Alyssa, who also has issues, arguably nowhere near as severe as his, but nonetheless she has her own shit to deal with, and the two characters come together, and the majority of the 8-episode series is them on the run.
I've seen you skating. British shit.
Yeah. So what did you think of the show?
You haven't even said what you thought, really, but...
Well, just setting it up, and then we'll get to your opinion.
Yeah, but then I have to say my opinion
before
you say yours,
yes, you do.
So it has to be my pure opinion.
As it should be.
As it usually is. I enjoyed it. I always say that, I feel. But I really liked that it was more American, because there's something about... Maybe it's because I've lived in Britain, so I don't really get into it that much. I don't really get into Norwegian movies because it's too Norwegian. I can tell. Too
familiar.
Yes. It feels too real. And when I watch a movie, I want to get dragged into that other universe.
Yeah.
So if it's too, like, that looks like my neighborhood, then I'll be like, it feels like someone I know filmed it. You know what I mean? So it looking so American, but with having British people in it, felt really like a really nice mix, I guess.
And we're not really, I don't think we're expressing ourselves that well on how it feels American. It just does. There's just something about it. It's just, it feels very influenced by American filmmaking. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Because there are techniques, and there the coloration and the editing and the houses and the everything. It just seemed like they were in an American town, but everyone spoke British.
Yeah, I think maybe it's the fact that it is shot so well. You don't expect British shows to look this good. Like no. I think that the highlight of the show by far for me was the cinematography. It looked stunning, and the color was to do with the color grading. And
maybe an American crew
I'm not sure.
worked
Or
on it.
maybe it was just a stylistic choice, a very conscious choice. I think that it's like it mutes it a little bit. I'm really terrible with color, like I really am, but it just feels, I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't even see like those typical British houses around either.
Good point.
So you don't
Yes.
feel like you are
Yeah, that is a
in
good
a
point.
Britain part of Britain.
Yeah.
Like anywhere. Like I don't remember seeing like any of those stone houses and thinking, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's London.
Yeah.
It's not. Anyone who's into British movies and like into movies in general and who's seen both British and American movies will definitely understand what I mean. If you don't, then
Yeah. Right. So we
you
hopped up on.
wasted 5 minutes.
Yes.
Well, not really, because it's interesting. I like the acting as well. The girl is supposed to be annoying, and she does a good job at being annoying. I think Luke disliked her more, but I thought it was a good thing. The boy was annoying too, in some ways, but then he cut his hair, and I liked him more. But the personality changes as well. You get to know them quite a lot.
Yes.
Some will probably not sympathize with them, and some will.
Yeah.
And you get to know some characters in their lives that make you think, okay, they are fucked up for a reason. You know, for a very, very good reason, really.
Yeah, I love the way that it peeled back the backstory.
Yeah.
Throughout the 8 episodes.
And how they are just kids.
And it is very dark. You know, violence, language, sex to implication more than actually showing. I think you were a bit worried at times because it seemed like it was going to lead to some sex scenes and it didn't. But it was that was part of it too.
It would be uncomfortable because she...
It's supposed to be a certain age.
Yes.
The actors are in their 20s, but they're playing 17, 18 or so on, I suppose.
Really?
Yeah. I really liked it overall. First episode, I was kind of ready to just not continue.
Oh, I was into it from the very start.
I was intrigued, it pulled me in, but the first episode to me felt so derivative of Wes Anderson. It felt like Wes Anderson, but with a darker tone.
It really, really does.
There was these like shots of like her birthday cards that she received from her dad over the years, and they kind of appeared like in a row, just like a top-down view of a table, and it was so Wes Anderson style. And then there's a scene. And then there's a scene where she walks off in slow motion. It suddenly goes slow motion. And then it's like this kind of rock song, straight out of a Wes Anderson film. And I just thought, wow, they're really going into that kind of thing. It just felt too similar. But from the second episode, it didn't feel like that. So it was weird. It was like it was okay. We got the Wes Anderson-y stuff out. Let's just kind of go a bit more original. I don't know. It just that first episode really was like. Don't think I'm going to like this, but the more it went on, the more I enjoyed it. As you said, once the main character James cut his hair, it seemed to. But again, his character changes. He goes on a journey, discovers things about himself, and also by the end of the show, he's wearing this kind of like almost like Hawaiian shirt, like this brightly colored thing, and it's like reflecting how he's warming as a person. The colors are becoming brighter. The girl Alyssa. So up and down. The performance is like that for me. Like there's just bits where she just rings so false, and I just think, no, not buying that. And then other times I thought she was great. So it was just really up and down. He was just a bit annoying in his meekness at times. I guess I get that. Guess that's the character, but it's like, don't know. It just you just want to like grab and just
yeah.
But that is part of it.
Yeah, if that's what you're supposed to feel, then it's doing a good job.
Yeah. But
it makes you not feel that much sympathy for the kids, and I think you're supposed to.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Yeah.
My favourite part of the show was the police detectives, who are kind of tasked with finding out what happened to these kids because they go on the run, basically. And they have their own these two women, they have their own kind of story, which was fairly interesting, but I really liked the actresses who played them, and that side of just following the footprints, you know, that the kids were leaving behind. I just liked the two intercrossing storylines. I liked the girl's dad as well. I thought the actor was really good. Yes.
He was interesting, and I liked how things escalated a lot around that area.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna make another one.
Right, well, let's talk about without spoiling things. I don't think we need to spoil things, but it ends on a note which could be taken in different ways. You can really kind of make up the ending of the show by yourself. you can see that as an ending, or you can see it as a continuation. And I don't think the show was based on a comic book series apparently, so I have no idea if it's a story that is contained like that or whether there's more. Whether the success of the show, now that it's been on Netflix and a lot more people have seen it, whether they'll want to do a second series, I have no idea.
And how they're going to do it.
And how they do it, like where would you take the story? You know, I'm not sure how much mileage there is, but I do like the characters, and I wouldn't mind seeing them again. I wouldn't be put out if they didn't do anything else, but I'd be there to see it. You know,
I'd be like it ended endingly enough. You know what I mean by that, right?
Endingly enough.
Well, it's like it was enough of an ending for it to end like that.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And so it would be okay if there wasn't any more.
Yeah.
I've got enough other stuff to watch anyway, so
Sure.
I'm fine. But I do want to know what will happen.
Sure. Overall, I thought that it was really, really good. I liked the acting a lot, for the most part. It was shot incredibly. I think that was a real great. And I love the editing at times. There's a pretty serious thing that happens to them around the middle of the series, and they both keep remembering it throughout the rest of the entire show. And it just kind of the way that it flashes in their head.
It's the way it would flash.
Yes, it felt really realistic as to someone kind of remembering, oh my god, you know. So I liked that a lot. But yeah, well, let's give it like a rating out of 5, like I would on Letterboxd or whatever. What would you rate the show? I think I give it a 4, I think. It's probably a fair. Mostly really, really good.
I think I would give it a 4 too.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty high. Because it is an 8 out of 10.
You think about it,
I
yeah.
hate the 5s.
Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it? We always just do it with 10s with movies.
Yeah, because I like being able to give 8.5, you know? But
True.
I would just give this a solid 8, I guess.
Okay.
Not 7.5, not 8.5, so...
Alright,
yeah.
well, yeah. So, 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, whatever you want to call it. So there we go. Our thoughts on the end of the fucking world. And it felt a bit more realistic with kids swearing a lot as well. Because that's always really mostly the case, I think, which is probably why it was so enjoyable, because kids swear, and so. But it was quite extreme with that as well. At the same time, there's a scene where
Stranger Things.
there's a scene where she realizes she's on her period, and it's pretty graphically shown. You know, it's
yeah, but she didn't have anyone around her, so maybe that would be the way she.
Right. Yeah, but I'm just saying
Checks
it's a show that doesn't pull its punches in most areas. So, but it's nice to see that. Not that scene, but it's nice to see a show that can kind of push the boundaries like that, and makes it a bit more involving and gripping at times, especially with some of the things that happen in the show. So there we go. That's our thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, maybe.
He's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and calling into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you, 'cause